Jamie here with TAC Air. Today we're going to go over the basic wiring and functionality of a single-phase Shihlin magnetic starter. Shihlin magnetic starters are very common in the compressor industry. They offer a very good value for a magnetic starter. In front of me, I have a 7.5 horsepower single-phase unit. When you purchase a Shihlin magnetic starter, you're going to get the magnetic starter contactor, which is internal. You're going to get the metal housing, and then it's also going to come with some wire grommets. If you punch out these holes for incoming wires, you can use these. It's also going to come with an instruction diagram or wiring diagram, and that's what we're going to go over today because this can be a little bit confusing to read or look at if you're not familiar with electrical diagrams. This video is for informational purposes only. We always recommend that these be installed by licensed electricians. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to us at any time, but always use a licensed electrician for any electrical installation. This magnetic starter, you will see has it looks like 3 terminals on the top, but on the single phase units, the middle one is a dummy. So you're going to use the 2 outside terminals for the incoming power, which is L1L1 and 5L3 is the other one. So the outside L terminals are the incoming power from your wall. You also have a ground connector, which is at the bottom frame, or you can ground to a couple other spots on the frame or body of this magnetic starter housing. But you'll have the incoming power to the L terminals, and then at the bottom, you're going to have 2T1, 4T2, and 6T3. Again, the 4T2 is blank. It's not used on single phase. It's a two wire connection, so you're going to use 2T1 and 6T3. Those wires at the bottom here go out to your motor. You also, again, have a ground that grounds to the frame. Once you have the power connected and everything hooked up, you will see over here you have an adjustable amperage overload. So the overload here on this particular starter is 32 to 48 amps. The amperage that you want to set this adjustable overload to is about 10 to 15% higher than the motor amperage. So on a 7.5 horsepower motor, you're going to have about, let's say, 32 amps on average for the motor. So you're going to set this at like 36 to 38 amps. You don't want it too high because you do want that protection. So if something happens that this kicks out. You're going to see the blue button off to the side. The blue button is a manual reset. It can also be set to automatic. But in the manual mode, if this ever kicks out, you simply push in on this blue button and it resets the overload. If you set it to the automatic position, which is not recommended for compressor use, it will auto reset when it kicks out. You don't want that because if it ever kicks out, there's typically a reason, and then it's going to be sitting there trying to basically restart the compressor, or it's going to be trying to reset the starter continually. So keep it in the manual mode, highly recommended. Once you get that set, you got your main power connected, we get to the most common question, the pressure switch. How does the pressure switch control this box? This box, this magnetic starter has no pressure sensing capability, so you have to have a pressure switch to control the magnetic starter. The pressure switch is going to have 2 wires. So on a normal pressure switch, well, any pressure switch, you're going to see typically 4 terminals and 2 grounds because it's meant to have power incoming and power outgoing. When you have a magnetic starter, you're only using the pressure switch to control the starter. So then you're going to only have 2 wires. You're going to have one going out of the starter to the pressure switch and one coming back from the pressure switch to the starter. On a Shihlin magnetic starter, you're going to get the power to the pressure switch from 1L1. So the same terminal that one of your power wires is coming in at, you're going to have typically either one of the 12 gauge or 14 gauge wires is most common that goes to the pressure switch in that same terminal. So there'll be 2 wires in that L1 terminal, your power and one of the pressure switch wires. That goes out to your pressure switch. It's going to go to one of the terminals, either the motor or the line. You're going to have one wire connected to a motor terminal and one wire connected to a line terminal on the same contactor, because when that pressure switch gets to pressure, you want it to connect those 2 wires, which then sends power out of the pressure switch back to the starter. So if you have one L1 going to your one line connection on your pressure switch, you're going to have one wire on the motor connection coming out of the pressure switch, coming back into number 14 terminal. And when I say motor connection on a pressure switch, they're typically marked line and motor. So line is incoming power, motor is outgoing power, standard on a pressure switch. So you have that power coming in from the pressure switch going to number 14. This is where it commonly gets confused. So there's a stair-step terminal on this magnetic starter. The front one is number 22, the back one is 14. 14 also already has this yellow wire going into it, so a lot of times people think, oh, well, there's already a wire there, it must go to the front one. If you put it in number 22, this starter is going to not do anything. So you got to have the pressure switch wire going into the same terminal as this yellow wire here, number 14. You'll see that this yellow wire connects up to A2. You can also, if it works better, depending on how much length of wire you have or how you're wiring this up, you know, where your wire's coming in at, you can also go to A2 with that same pressure switch wire. It just has to be on one side or the other of this yellow wire. Once that pressure switch connects and energizes terminal number 14, the bottom one here, or number A2, it's going to pull in on this coil. So once that coil pulls in, it's going to start the compressor, and then when the pressure switch gets up to pressure, it's going to disengage and release the power from this contactor, and the contactor is going to release, shutting your compressor off. So it's really important that you get to the right terminals here. When you're wiring that pressure switch in, that's the most commonly confused part of the installation of one of these magnetic starters. If you have, hopefully this video answered any of your questions or all your questions. If not, you can also always contact us at TAC Air. Again, we're not licensed electricians. We can only give, you know, general wiring diagram information, basically. We always recommend licensed electricians. But visit our website at www.tacair.com. That's TACCAIR.com, or give us a call at 531-500-4000. Thanks for watching this video.